You survived what you thought would break you. You made it through the nights nobody knew you cried, the disappointments you never saw coming, and the chapters you never wanted to close. But Spirit says your story didn't end there. The ashes were never the end of your story. They were the beginning of your rise. Let's get into that. So, some of you clicked on this reading because you're tired of carrying the weight of what you've lost, tired of trying to make sense of endings you never asked for, and tired of wondering if you ever feel like yourself again. But Spirit has a message for you today. This isn't the end of your story. The fire may have changed you, but it didn't destroy you. So let's see what Spirit wants you to know about the ashes you've walked through and the rise that's waiting on the other side. So, Spirit says for many of you, this journey has required more strength than anyone realized. There were seasons where you had to hold yourself together while everything around you felt uncertain. You learned patience through delays, sacrifice through disappointment, and resilience through situations you never asked for. But what once felt like punishment was actually changing your perspective. Okay, you began seeing people, patterns, and even yourself differently. There may have been choices made from passion, fear, or longing. Some of you outgrew connections rooted in the past. Others finally accepted the nostalgia isn't the same as alignment. The confusion that once clouded your judgment is lifting. Truth is cutting through illusions, and you're no longer willing to betray yourself just to keep the peace. There is grief here, grief over what didn't work out, who didn't show up, and the version of yourself that kept hoping things would be different. But Spirit wants you to know that your heart hasn't closed. In fact, it's healing. New love is flowing back into your life, not just romantic love, but self love, divine love, and the ability to trust yourself again. What once felt impossible is slowly being restored through balance, patience, and faith. You're learning that not every battle deserves your energy. Okay, the need to control, defend, or prove yourself is softening. Okay, hope is returning, independence is growing. You're recognizing your own value and realizing you don't have to settle for situations that leave you empty. Walking away wasn't failure, it was choosing yourself. And choosing yourself opens the door to new beginnings. Yes, there may still be conflict as you step into this new chapter. Not everyone will understand your growth, not everyone will celebrate your healing, but emotional fulfillment is still available to you. The unexpected changes that shook your foundation weren't meant to destroy your future. They cleared away what no longer aligned so that your deepest desires could finally take root. Spirit says the ashes were never the end of your story, okay? They stripped away what wasn't authentic so you could remember who you truly are. So you're stepping into an era of abundance, creativity, confidence, and rebirth. The old version of you had to die so that a wiser, softer, stronger version of you could emerge. Underneath it all is connection, the relationship with yourself, the people who truly align with your heart, the partnerships built on reciprocity rather than survival. Love remains, not because you avoided the fire, but because you walked through it and chose not to let it harden you. 5:05 on my timer. So your story didn't end in the ashes. It began there. Okay. So the message moving forward is not to rush to become who you used to be. Trust the person you've became or become. The phoenix doesn't rise looking backward. It rises because it finally understands that the fire reveals its wings. Okay. So let's get more. Three of Wands in reverse. Two of Pentacles. Seven of Wands. Seven of Swords in reverse. King of Swords. King of Wands. Nine of Wands. The Seven of Pentacles underneath here. So this feels like Spirit pulling the camera back saying, before you move forward, there's one more lesson. Okay, the energy here feels hesitant. There is a part of someone, whether this is you or another person connected to you, that wants progress but is struggling to fully embrace the future. Plans may not be unfolding the way they expected. There can be frustration around delays, missed opportunities, or feeling like, I thought I'd be further along by now. Okay, it's almost like standing at the shoreline, knowing there's another land ahead, but being afraid to leave the familiar behind. Then comes the balancing act here. Someone has been juggling responsibilities, emotions, decisions, trying to keep everything afloat while secretly wondering how much longer they can do it all. Spirit is highlighting the need to make a choice rather than continuously adapting to circumstances that no longer fit. The repeated seven energy is loud in this spread. Okay, you have the Seven of Wands, the Seven of Swords in reverse, and the Seven of Pentacles underneath here. So seven is the number of spiritual evaluation, wisdom, introspection, and divine testing. Spirit often brings sevens when you're being asked, what have you learned? So the Seven of Wands says you fought hard to protect what matters to you, your peace, your healing, your boundaries. You're not the same person that you used to be. You're less willing to explain yourself and more willing to stand on your truth now. The Seven of Swords in reverse shifts that energy. Secrets don't stay buried forever. For some, this is confession. Truth coming out, someone owning their actions, accountability replacing avoidance. For others of you, this is self-honesty. No more pretending you're okay when you're not. No more minimizing what hurt you. No more talking yourself out of what your intuition already knows or knew. The masculine energies here are fascinating. Okay, the King of Swords, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius energy. Logical, detached, strategic. This is someone who's gained clarity through hardship. Okay, they may not express emotions easily, but they're seeing the truth of a situation without the rose-colored glasses. Beside him sits this King of Wands. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, energy of passion, confidence, action, vision. Together, these two kings say, think clearly, then move boldly. Okay, don't let emotions make all the decisions, but don't let fear talk you out of your desires either. This may literally be two masculine energies involved in some of you viewers. For some of you viewers, one more emotionally detached and analytical, okay, which is the King of Swords. Okay, the other is charismatic, passionate, action oriented. But for many of you, this is an integration happening within the self. Head and heart, wisdom and courage, discernment and action. Okay, then the Nine of Wands appears. This is the wounded warrior. Okay, the person who says, I've made it this far, but I'm tired. You may find yourself questioning whether it's worth trying again, whether it's worth trusting again, whether it's worth hoping again. Spirit acknowledges the exhaustion, okay? But underneath it all sits the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, this is beautiful. Because after everything you've been through, Spirit says nothing was wasted. Not the heartbreak, not the waiting, not even the disappointments, not the lessons. You've been planting seeds this entire time, healing, growing, learning, changing. And now you're standing in a season of evaluation, asking, was it worth my energy moving forward? Spirit's answer is simple. Protect what you've built. Tell the truth. Use your discernment. Okay, stop juggling what you've already outgrown here, and don't give up 5 minutes before the harvest. Because the person who once survived by simply enduring is becoming someone who chooses carefully where their energy goes, okay? And that's not fear, okay? That's wisdom. So, tell me more. The World, Ten of Pentacles, Queen of Cups, the Moon, the Devil, Ten of Wands, Six of Swords at the bottom. So I'll call out the major energies after I do this reading, but this feels like Spirit saying you're closer to the other side of this than you realize, because look at how this energy shifts. The World opens this part of the story. Fixed sign energy, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, completion of a cycle, graduation, closing out a soul lesson. This isn't a small ending. Okay, this is the end of a major cycle that has shaped who you are. The version of you that tolerated less, over-explained, overextended your energy, and carried everyone else's burden is reaching the finish line. And immediately after that comes this Ten of Pentacles. So this was an ending for the sake of loss. I'm sorry, this wasn't an ending for the sake of loss. It was an ending that makes room for legacy, stability, long-term fulfillment. Okay, the kind of life that actually lasts. Some of you are redefining what having it all means. Maybe it used to mean keeping everyone together, staying loyal no matter the cost, or sacrificing your own needs. Now it's becoming about peace, emotional security, healthy relationships, financial stability, community, and creating a life that feels safe to come home to. Okay, then we meet this Queen of Cups, feminine water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. This is someone whose heart has remained open despite everything. Compassionate, intuitive, deep feeling. But she's different now, okay? She's learned that empathy without boundaries becomes self abandonment. She still loves, okay? She just doesn't drown trying to save everyone anymore. Okay, then we get the moon, and this is where spirit gets very honest. There are still fears here, the unknown, questions without answers, the what ifs. Okay, you may know you're being guided somewhere better, but you can't fully see what the future looks like yet. Part of you wants certainty before taking the next step, okay? But healing rarely works that way. Sometimes spirit gives you enough light for the next few steps, not the whole staircase, okay? Then we get this devil energy, which is Capricorn energy, and I don't immediately feel this is an outside person. It feels like the old survival pattern trying to negotiate one more contract. Okay, the voice says, stay where it's familiar. Don't trust happiness. Okay, if you let your guard down, you'll get hurt again. Carry it yourself. Don't ask for help. Okay, you have to earn love. So these are the chains, okay? Not because they're stronger than you, but because they're familiar. And then comes this Ten of Wands. Again, that's two tens now. The universe keeps repeating itself. Okay, you've carried enough. The responsibility, the guilt, okay, the pressure, the expectations, the emotional labor, the belief that if you just worked harder, loved harder, sacrificed more, maybe things would finally work out. Okay, Spirit says put it down. You're not meant to enter your next chapter carrying the baggage from the last one. Okay, and underneath it all, you got the Six of Swords. This is one of my favorite cards in this spread. Okay, so you are leaving. Okay, not necessarily physically, maybe you are, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you're moving away from chaos and into peace, away from confusion and into clarity, away from surviving and into living. Okay, the water isn't perfectly calm yet. You may still have moments where you look back. You may still grieve what could have been, but you're moving. Okay, you're no longer building a home in the storm. Okay, the story spirit is telling. You completed a cycle that taught you hard lessons about love, loyalty, sacrifice, and self worth. You discovered that intuition and compassion don't mean carrying everyone's pain. You confronted the fears and attachments that kept you stuck. And you realized that exhaustion isn't a badge of honor. And now Spirit is guiding you towards something different, something steadier, something healthier, something real. The world says you've graduated. The Ten of Pentacles says there's more waiting for you. And this Queen of Cups says keep your heart open, but honor yourself. Okay? The Moon. Trust even when you can't see everything. And this Devil says you don't have to go back to what you've outgrown. All right. 10 of Wands, lay the burdens down. All right. And the 6 of Swords whispers, keep going. Because the ashes were never the end of your story. They were the evidence that you survived the fire long enough to find your way back to yourself. And now Spirit is asking you to prove your strength. Okay? He isn't asking you to prove your strength anymore. It's asking you to receive peace you've fought so hard to find. Okay? So again, I'm going to go over the major signs in this reading, which is just the energy of what I'm picking up on, but this could be the actual sign that I'm referring to. All the fixed signs: Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius, Leo. We got more Aquarius, Leo, Pisces, Sagittarius, Cancer, Capricorn, Pisces, Aries, Scorpio, Gemini, Scorpio, Aquarius, Taurus, Libra. And those are the signs that I have, you guys. Let me know down in the comments if anything within this reading resonated. Drop your zodiacs down in the comment section. Make sure you guys stay grounded, stay protected, and most of all, stay blessed and rooted in your truth. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.